extension. It includes over $56 million guaranteed, makes him the highest paid linebacker in the NFL. And this is really interesting, as Adam's pointing out. You see there are extensions from San Francisco in the last month. Brock Purdy, Fred Warner, George Kittle, and look at this. Purdy, as we know, last pick in the draft. Warner was a third-round pick. Kittle, a fifth-round pick. You see the investment that they've made in these players, the development that you've seen, and maybe just really good identifying of talent in the draft. Look how that's paid off for this team. Of course, we've talked about the 49ers doing some big deals here. Mina, what do you think about Fred Warner and getting this extension done?
I mean, Fred Warner rocks. I know that's not exactly sophisticated football analysis, but I was just watching him on tape, and he's been the best linebacker, out-by linebacker in this league now for years and years. He's so fundamental to what they do on offense, and it's because of his unbelievable versatility, his athleticism, his sideline-to-sideline range, his brain. He is probably the best linebacker against play action that I've ever seen. He's a future Hall of Famer. Gets to stay with the team now for more years. This is an obvious no-brainer contract. Yeah, I love it. He's somebody that also is such an incredible presence in the locker room and on the field, as you illustrated there, Mina. All right, let's talk about somebody else who's kind of in the same vein. King Henry. We put a crown on him because we should, right? He's still the king, and there's a lot of dollar signs on the screen because he got paid. A $30 million contract, of course, with the Ravens. 2-year, $30 million extension, I should say. Includes $25 million guaranteed, according to Adam Schefter. And today, the $30 million man spoke to the media for the first time since the extension.
You know, the saying is, you're only as good as your last game, and I don't think my last game was up to par to my standard. I think when I'm in that position again, just play better. But right now, just focus on getting better, improving, getting stronger, working on my weaknesses, and improve the things that I'm good at to be able to help this team and be better than I was last year, just so we're better.
Well, golly, he certainly has the right attitude, right? And it seems like Derrick Henry is getting better with age somehow. He's now the highest paid running back, 30 or over in NFL history. Mina, how are the Ravens able to protect their investment here, though?
Oh, boy. First of all, this is, I think, such a great landing spot for Derrick Henry at this particular point in his career. You know, he's very smart in choosing the Ravens. He's smart in staying with the Ravens. To put that in perspective, last year, Henry was third league-wide in yards before contact per carry. His final year in Tennessee, he was 35th. So, you know, he lands at the Ravens where he plays behind a very good run-blocking offensive line with, you know, an unbelievable dual-threat quarterback that makes life easier for him. But moving forward, Laura, to answer your question, I think there are things that Baltimore can do to manage his workload. They've got a very good stable of backs. Justice Hill is probably one of the most underrated change-of-pace backs in the NFL. Great pass catcher and pass protector. Keaton Mitchell is coming back from injury. So I think Baltimore needs to be conscious of that moving forward.
Tim, what are your thoughts?
Handling the load, all that stuff, I've been very impressed with.
I'm excited for Lawrence that he gets to work with Liam Cohen. He has a 52 total QBR in his career. That's the third worst of any #1 overall pick since the metric began in 2006. Only Sam Bradford and Alex Smith were worse. 52 is about average, but the Jaguars certainly expected something more right when they took him at #1 overall in 2021. Now, you saw Travis Hunter's jersey at the start of that, Tim. Trevor Lawrence has new playmakers on offense. He's got this new head coach who has been able to develop quarterbacks. So how much pressure is on Trevor now to take that next step forward?
I think a ton of pressure. Just put it in this perspective. He's just 1 year older than Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts' path has not been easy, and he wasn't the #1 overall pick. Had to win a job, hold off, you know, other people that were vying for the job. It's that massive change at the coordinator position. And so, look, yeah, have they surrounded him? Yeah, they've surrounded him. But Trevor Lawrence has now been surrounded. He's been surrounded by good coaches, and he's been surrounded by good players. And so at some point, it can't be like, yeah, the guy's doing a great job. He's learning the playbook. It's got to be, hey, he makes every single person in our building better. Like, that's what he does. That's what a franchise quarterback should do. He should make the coaches better, should make the players better. He should just elevate everybody in the entire building. And we're just at that point now. Like, it's to the point where you say, okay, like yeah, we can say, look, it wasn't a great year that first year. And then it was a kind of a restart your second year. And then obviously we've had some change and we're doing it again. But I think we're over that now. And we're at the point now where it's like, hey, prove that you can carry a franchise, because that is what you expect somebody to do when you draft them with the first overall pick.
Absolutely. Trevor Lawrence is the most important person in that building. Liam Cohen might be 1 inch behind him. And I love the fact that the Jaguars brass gave Liam the keys and said, you know what, we're paying you a boatload of money. Hire who you want. Now, Liam Cohen could have gone the retread style and said, all right, well, I've got this 60-year-old offensive coordinator and I've got this offensive line. Their staff is fascinating. Liam's 39, fine. So that's kind of what the age is right now, the young hot coaches. He hired Grant Udinski as the offensive coordinator. Grant is 29 years old. A 29-year-old offensive coordinator. Okay, so let's get a quarterbacks coach who's been in the league for 30 years. Let's get a Tom Moore type. Let's get somebody who's seen it all. No. Spencer Whipple, who is 36 years old, is the quarterbacks coach. So after having a Doug Peterson and after having all the different voices in his head, it's almost like the Jaguars ripped up the script and said, let's just go young, let's be disruptors, and let's see if Trevor can work with this group. I love the fact that they're zagging a bit when the rest of the league is zigging a little bit, trying to maybe recreate what Minnesota did for Sam Darnold last year with a lot of young, hungry, smart coaches in his head, as opposed to them, the older generation before them of guys who have been doing it for 30 years.
Youth movement, I like it. I mean, we saw the risk maybe, or at least the aggressive approach, meaning that they took in the draft when it comes to Travis Hunter, but a lot of focus has been on the offense, right? Let's turn to the other side of the ball, because maybe all that only works out if the defense can be good. How concerned are you about this Jags defense heading into the season?
Very. This is actually where I'm the most concerned, because I share Peter's optimism about this young offense, the staff, the players, but defensively, it's pretty much the same group as last season, and it kind of reminds me actually of the Bengals last year, where everybody was so excited, Joe Burrow's coming back, and this offense is going to take off again. And I remember thinking, but this defense finished at the bottom of the NFL, and they didn't get better. And quite frankly, I feel the same way about this Jags defense. I mean, I know Travis Hunter is going to play a little bit of cornerback, but for the most part, this is the same group, and they were the worst pass defense in football last year. Now, they do have a coaching change, and I do think last year the scheme put a little bit too much pressure on the cornerbacks in particular. They were playing a ton of man coverage. Hopefully, it's going to be a little bit easier, but you know, I would say to approach that side of the ball with some hesitation, because they didn't really add much in the way of talent.
One more on the youth movement. James Gladstone, 34-year-old GM, of course. A lot of people, when the press conferences were coming out about why they went up to get Travis Hunter, they're like, who's that young guy? It's a big compliment. He made some great moves, but really interesting to see how young they all are. All right, we got more coming your way, but first, new on NFL Live from our Adam Schefter. The Browns have signed quarterback Shedeur Sanders to a 4-year, $4.6 million contract. Going to be really interesting to see.
Hello, xin chào